You ready to go? Good evening. My name is Jack Diabo. I'm the chairman of the Ware Zoning Board of Adjustments. Mark, would you introduce yourself, please?
Mark Moretti, member.
Bobby Joe Plamondon, member.
Gary Shelto, alternate.
Thank you. This evening is October 6th. We have 3 continued applications. They are a special exception for Belanger Construction. We have Sandra and Scott Martell for a variance, and we have a special exception for Alex Hayfield. With that said, since last time, actually, we continued, all 3 of these cases pending a review from town council, and we do have information back from town council, and we forwarded that to the applicants, and they came in with the updated applications. We will go through the first one here, and this is for, make sure I got this right. Oops, that's East Shore Drive. Who's my first application?
Should,
A accessory dwelling unit.
right. should
We
be
still
eight-
have to
8
do the-
Greenwood with the only summary that you have on.
We still have to do the special exception as well, correct?
You have to do both, the variance for the square footage and a special exception to allow the use.
Okay, I'm not trying to find my special exception application. I cannot find that.
Don't have your old one?
Well, I've got the other 2. I got Hayfield,
Okay.
I got the Shore Drive.
Was it this one here?
I didn't see it in my package.
That was from last time.
Yes. Okay, first we'll deal with the variance. And do we have a new variance package?
I gave it to you.
I mean, which one am I?
This one.
No,
I just gave it to you at the table.
That's it.
That's it.
okay, this property is at 8 Greenwood Drive. And the applicant's name is Jeffrey A. Ardini, owner being the same, address being the same. We have the 5 points of hardship. We have application, the butters. We'll have a design. Very good. Okay. Who would like to come forward? There's a penalty for being very long-winded on your descriptions. I'm going to ask you to read them.
Okay. Completely understand. My name is Jeffrey Ardini. I'm the property owner at 8 Greenwood Road. And, sir, you mentioned Greenwood Drive. I'm not sure where that was
Whoop.
written, but
Did I misread?
the address is actually Greenwood Road.
Road, yep.
All right, so to serve my penance here for my long-winded responses. Number 1, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest. My response to that is, the proposed efficiency dwelling does not conflict with the ordinances in any way other than the proposed square footage. It is understood that the purpose of the ordinance is, at least in part, to limit the building of large multifamily or duplex-style dwellings in residential areas of the town. In recognizing the spirit of the ordinance, the proposed efficiency dwelling will be uniform with the primary dwelling in construction and material, but will be notably smaller in outside dimensions than the primary dwelling, therefore making the proposed efficiency dwelling appear to be a natural extension of the primary dwelling. The proposed efficiency dwelling will match the salt box style design of the primary dwelling and will therefore not adversely affect the character of the neighborhood. The proposed efficiency dwelling will be attached to the primary dwelling on the wall furthest from the road, thereby making the efficiency dwelling almost unseen by all but one neighbor, Kevin Pepin, or by passerbys. The proposed efficiency dwelling will not impact nor interfere with any neighbor's sightlines or impact any views from any neighbor's residences. Therefore, there are no reasonable expectations that the proposed efficiency dwelling will have any impact on the health, safety, or welfare of anyone or any of the properties or injure any public right. Number 2, please describe how the spirit of the ordinance is observed. The applicant recognizes the spirit of the ordinance to ensure landowners do not create large multifamily rental dwellings in residential areas of our community. While the allowable 750 square feet can allow for a small bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, and living area, that amount of space allows for very little room for movement when factoring in furniture, cabinets, vanities, etc. The future residents of the proposed efficiency dwelling are two 76-year-old people, both of whom cherish their independence, but one of whom, Cheryl Ardini, suffers from chronic knee and hip ailments, which inhibits her mobility. Cheryl's doctors predict she will need a walker and ultimately a wheelchair in the future to achieve typical daily mobility. The modest addition of 105 square feet spread throughout the entire floor plan of the proposed efficiency dwelling would aid in increasing space for movement or handicapped accessibility, while not drastically increasing the size or prominence of the dwelling on the property. Therefore, acknowledging and respecting the spirit of the ordinance and not affecting the essential character of the neighborhood, threaten public safety, health, safety, or welfare of the public, or otherwise injure any public right. 3, describe how substantial justice is done. Upon viewing Article 19, it would appear that the proposed efficiency dwelling meets all the requirements of the article except the allowable square footage. As described in the response to question 2, the request for an additional 105 square feet is being made in the interest medical and safety necessity and not simply for the purposes of vanity or disregard for the spirit of the ordinance. In applying handicap-related space in a kitchen and bath, as well as in large doorways and other mobility-related design aspects, the applicant feels that 105 square feet or the equivalent of 10.25 by 10.25 square foot area spread throughout the entire dwelling design provides the space needed while remaining respectful of the spirit of the ordinance. The addition of the equivalent of 10.25 by 10.25 square foot area will not drastically increase the overall dimensions of the efficiency dwelling or cause the efficiency dwelling to match or overshadow the size of the primary dwelling. Therefore, there should be no harm to the general public or the property rights and quality of life to the abutters to the property. Number 4, please describe how the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. The values of the surrounding properties should not be diminished in any way. The proposed efficiency dwelling would be built to the rear of the primary dwelling, meaning the primary dwelling will essentially block any notable view of the efficiency dwelling. The proposed efficiency dwelling will match the existing dwelling in construction material and design and will be natural extension of the primary dwelling. Based on the proposed size of the efficiency dwelling, a one-bedroom, one-bath dwelling, there would be no more than 2 occupants of the dwelling at any given time, meaning no more than 2 additional vehicles on the property. The driveway of 8 Greenwood Road can accommodate the addition of 2 more vehicles without having to utilize street parking or parking that could impact the property of the abutters. The proposed efficiency dwelling will increase the value of the property overall, which would likely also increase the overall market values of the neighborhood.
Before you get to 5, one of the questions I asked town council was that under RSA 674-33, there is a condition that allows for hardship in the form of a disability of a person using the property. It allows for, in section 5, where you have to show that it's not a, that it is a hardship for you. This relaxes that hardship requirement. It's first time I ever want to cross this, so it was good that we got that through town council, and it said absolutely. So in this particular case, the unnecessary hardship, or the hardship is relieved. So, meaning, you don't have to meet this criteria. Just want to point that out.
Okay, thank you. Should I continue?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 5, literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship. There are no notable or distinguishable differences in the property of 8 Greenwood Road when compared to others in the area. Greenwood Road overall ascends a notable grade, which to varying degrees impacts the terrain, topography, and access to all the dwellings on the road. Structurally, 8 Greenwood Road is different than other surrounding properties in that there is no garage or barn-like structures on the property, which other nearby properties do have. Next, the property at 8 Greenwood Road currently contains a single-family residence. The lot size of the address is 2 acres, and the home on the property is set back from the road in a manner that makes the home partially blocked from view by a heavy natural blind made up of trees and other natural growth. The lot can accommodate the proposed efficiency dwelling with no negative impact to the character of the neighborhood or town overall, any direct impact to any neighbors, or any burden to community resources. The request for an additional 105 square feet of space in the proposed efficiency dwelling is being made in the interest of safety and helping the residents of the efficiency dwelling maintain a level of independence and quality of life that allows them to live comfortably in a reasonable amount of space. It's the applicant's belief that the request of an additional 105 square feet is reasonable, fair, and balanced to the needs of the property owner in the spirit of the ordinance. Next, Article 19 provides the opportunity for property owners to construct efficiency dwellings within specified regulations. Therefore, the proposed use is reasonable in that the town allows such structures. The proposed efficiency dwelling fits all the requirements established in Article 19 except the maximum allowable square footage. The applicant recognizes the spirit of the ordinance and does not wish to abuse or manipulate the spirit of the ordinance. However, the requested addition of 105 square feet spread throughout the entire proposed efficiency dwelling is simply to allow the dwelling to be handicapped accessible in so much as to allow a person with mobility restrictions to safely maneuver through the dwelling in a wheelchair and/or walker. If not for the age and chronic joint health and mobility issues of the residents, for the proposed efficiency dwelling, the request would not be made. B, please describe the special conditions of the property that distinguish it from others in the area. The special condition of the property is the following. The expected residents of the proposed efficiency dwelling are the mother and stepfather of the primary property owner. Both are 76 years of age, and while they are both fiercely independent, my mother, Cheryl Ardini, has suffered years of chronic hip and knee deterioration that is worsening. My stepfather, Douglas Gerard, has a history of heart issues. To add to those health issues, they have both been diagnosed as having contracted COVID-19, but have both recovered. Unfortunately, the diagnosis forced both to leave their full-time employment. Additionally, neither established a formal retirement, so they are living on a fixed income that has, in part, forced the sale of their primary residence. This has brought us to seek permission from the town to construct an efficiency dwelling attached to my home. The applicant is willing to meet whatever restrictions or requirements the town may dictate within the rules and ordinance of the town. However, the applicant would request a variance on the dimensional restrictions in order to allow for 105 additional square feet in the design of the efficiency apartment to make the floor plan conducive to the use of a walker and/or wheelchair. The maximum 750 square feet allowed under Article 19 does allow for a dwelling that could accommodate 1 bedroom, 1 bath, a small kitchen, and a living area. However, the total number of square footage does not allow enough space for maneuvering of a wheelchair and/or walker, handicapped with doorways, or a bathroom that would allow safe transition into or out of a shower stall or to and from a toilet. While Cheryl is not confined to a wheelchair at this time, and her general health is very good, her hips and knees are not. The applicant believes it is reasonable to want to design the efficiency dwelling to accommodate the expected needs of the dwelling residents in order to allow them to retain their independence and enjoy a home of their own. Based on that, the applicant believes the addition of 105 square feet for the purposes of safety and health reasons is a reasonable request.
Okay, before we go any further, we have to, I missed a step. We need to accept the application.
I'll make a motion to accept the
Thank you.
application.
A second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Being none, 4-0. Okay, at this point, you have a seat, please? Oh, wait, before you do that, any questions from the board? Being none, have a seat, please. Approving of butters, you can have a seat. Wish to speak? Disapproving of butters, wish to speak. Public at large, other boards, being none. You wish to rebut anything said? The answer is no. Okay, we'll do it one more time. Approving of butters, disapproving of butters, other boards, public at large, being none. At this point, I'm going to shut down the public hearing on this variance, and I will entertain a motion to accept Section 1, well, prong 1.
I'll make a motion to accept prong one.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. Discussion, being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Motion 2.
Move to accept prong two.
Thank you,
I'll second that.
thank you. Discussion, being none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. 3, please.
Move number three.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, thank you. Discussion, being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. 5 in its entirety?
Four.
Oh, 4, so I got ahead of myself.
Move to accept number four.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Discussion, being none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. And number 5 in entirety.
Move to accept number five in its entirety.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. Discussion, being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
No, 0. 4-0. Okay, now we'll take up the special exception. Okay. This is special exception for 8 Greenwood Road, map 412, lot 8, and it's case number 08-20. There's a floor plan. There is a side view of the building, an application, handwritten. Letter of affidavit. Appears to be a butters list, property card, driveway. Yeah. Septic system approval. And a warranty deed. Okay. Motion to accept, what's this, case 820?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion, being none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, 4-0. Looks like you redeemed yourself on this one. If you would read the question, please, and read the answer. And by the way, I looked at the requirements, and it appears that they met the 7 requirements in 1910, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Number 1, the specific site is an appropriate location for such use or uses in terms of overall community development. Yes, the proposed in-law apartment is in a residential area which is appropriate for community development. 2, the proposed use will not adversely affect the neighborhood and shall produce no significant reduction of real estate values in the neighboring area. The proposed use will not adversely affect the neighborhood. It should increase the value of real estate in the neighborhood area. 3, the proposed use will not be a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicular traffic or pedestrians. The proposed use will not be a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicular traffic or pedestrians. 4, the proposed use will not cause an undue burden on the town through the provisions of basic town services. No additional services will be required or needed by the municipality. 5, adequate off-street parking be provided if determined necessary by the zoning board of adjustment. There will be abundant parking spaces for 2 cars with no new curb cut. 6, a buffer may be required to screen neighboring Uses from the proposed use. Buffering may be fences, fence screens, dense planting, or suitable trees and shrubbery of natural occurring shrubs and trees. Additional buffer will not be required. 7, the zoning board of adjustment in granting any special exemption may include such restrictions or conditions to ensure compliance with this section. We are happy to comply with any restrictions or conditions provided by the zoning board of adjustment.
Any questions for the applicant? At this point, will you have a seat, please?
Yes, sir.
Approving abutters, wish to speak? Disapproving abutters? Other boards, public at large, being none, wish to rebut anything? No. Moving on, approving abutters, disapproving abutters, public at large, other boards? At this point, I will close down the public hearing on the special exception, and I'll entertain a motion to accept case 8-20.
I'll make a motion to accept
Thank you.
8-20.
Yep.
Second?
Thank you. Discussion. On discussion, I would state that I see no need of any additional requirements placed by the board. Good? No further discussion? At this point, call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. You get it.
Good luck.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, board. I appreciate it.
All righty. What's this? Okay, this is the setback.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna go on to 30B, I think it is.
Yeah. So this is
Are there
the,
multiple 30Bs here? No.
this is the summary because it's been cut down to
Okay.
just the setback variance.
Yep.
Sorry. Okay, the reason we're choosing not to do 09-20A is because the 1998 variance that the board granted in 98, I think it was the third 398, third case of 98. We brought this, it was raised by the applicant, we brought attention of town council. And it's kind of quirky when it was allowed, when it wasn't, depending on the town aware of the state. And she deemed that it still stands, so you're not required to go through that again. So that was the second piece of action we brought before the town attorney. And she found that be the case. She said you still need to do your setback, which is here with 30B. So at that point, let me just do a top level here. Sandra and Scott Martell, 50 Christmas Tree Lane, Milford, New Hampshire, 03055. Owner of the same property address, 124 East Shore Driveway, New Hampshire, 03281. Tax map 104/20, residential zone. And basically, it's a third of an acre in the residential zone. There is various artifacts found on the property in the form of a, let's see here. It was a, I would call it dilapidated foundation. It was a previously proposed single family. There's a shed and there's a dilapidated camper, and I'll test for that based on what I saw. Let's see here. This is a description included. There is a abutters list. There is a check sheet, a variance, warranty deed included. A series of pictures, abutters list, tax map identification on lot Yes. And same here, the higher view. There's the property card. There's the design for the location. Okay. At this point, any of the board have any questions on this? Being none, I'll accept to accept the application of motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the application.
Thank you. And the application is an 09-20B. And second,
I'll second.
Thank you.
09-20B.
any discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Being none, 4-0. Okay, wish to come forwards?
Good evening. My name is Erin Lambert. I'm an engineer working with Sandra and Scott Martell to help them get their land use permits to construct a 2-bedroom, single-family home with an attached garage. So we're before you tonight requesting a variance from section 3.5.1 for non-conforming lots to construct a 2-car garage no closer than 13 feet from the front setback, where a 30-foot setback from the property line is required.
Could I ask you,
Yes.
oh yeah, this is the 30 feet, this is the typical lot would be 50 feet. This is the relaxed.
Exactly, yes.
Okay,
yes.
I just want to make sure.
Nope,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah, so that, yeah, section 3.5.1 for non-conforming lots, yes. So the front yard should be 30 feet, and we're requesting to construct it within 13 feet.
So you would like, just so we get it straight, you would like the approval to meet, to read no closer than 13 feet?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. And I do have, if you'd like to see the setbacks up close, I do have a larger plan than the one in your packet. Either that, or I can just go through the 5 criteria.
Yeah, I see the
fine.
little paint marks on the brush out there.
Exactly. I can bring it for it if it's helpful. So number 1, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest. A 2-car garage is proposed to be constructed in front of the property. The garage will be connected to a single-family residence to provide covered parking and safe travel into the home during inclement weather. Additionally, the garage will provide storage for equipment such as, yard maintenance equipment such as a snow blower during those winter months. The variance will not be contrary to the public interest because it does not conflict with the purpose of the ordinance. It would allow parking that is permitted in that location to be covered. Other homes in the area have buildings within a similar proximity to the road and front property line or closer. Therefore, the garage will not alter the character of the neighborhood. The 2-car garage and driveway provides off-street parking for 4 to 6 vehicles, which does not threaten the public health, safety, and welfare. Regarding the spirit of the ordinance, the variance is in keeping with the spirit of the ordinance because the proposed use does not conflict with the general purpose of the ordinance. The property is located in a residential zoning district, and the proposed use is a single-family residence. The house has been sited in the location of an existing foundation. It's reasonable for a single-family home in New Hampshire to have an attached garage to provide covered parking and safe access into the home during the inclement weather. Additionally, the garage will provide storage. The variance does not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, which contains lakefront homes, some with garages, within a similar or closer proximity to the road. The variance does not threaten public health, safety, or welfare. The property will be serviced by an on-site well septic system and will be providing drainage control, so there'll be no additional runoff from the added impervious area. The garage and driveway provide parking for 4 to 6 vehicles, which improves public safety by keeping parking on-site and off of East Shore Drive. Public safety will be improved by the following: removing the old foundation, removal of an old dug well, removal of the rundown camper and shed, and removal of an old septic tank. Describing how substantial justice is done. Substantial justice is done by permitting the owner to construct covered parking for 2 vehicles. The garage will be connected to the home, again, to provide safe access during inclement weather. The lot is small and an irregular shape. It's not rectangular like the surrounding lots, and that irregular shape limits the buildable area available on the lot. Substantial justice would be granted by granting will be done by granting the variance. Regarding the surrounding property values, The value of surrounding properties will not be diminished by construction of a new single-family home and attached garage. The property currently contains an abandoned and falling down foundation and a rundown shed and attached camper that will be removed, which will increase the value of the surrounding properties. The new house will be in keeping with the aesthetics of the neighboring properties. And regarding hardship, please describe the special conditions of the property. The lot is small, it's only 0.33 acres and has a wetland along the front yard. The waterfront is not straight across, it actually cuts in on the north and south ends. So there's very limited area on the site to provide, outside of the 75-foot wetland setback and the property line setbacks where the septic system can be located. Therefore, a garage cannot be constructed further north or west. The lot is an irregular shape. It's not rectangular like the surrounding properties. And that irregular shape causes the setbacks to restrict the buildable area, making it a unique condition. Owing to the special conditions identified above, please describe how no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general purpose of the ordinance and the specific application of that provision to the ordinance. No fair and substantial relationship exists between the general purpose of the ordinance and the specific application of the provision because the owner wishes to construct a single-family residence with an attached garage on a lot in a residential zone. The constraints of the site, including the size of the lot and setback encumbrances, because the waterfront cuts into the property corners, precludes construction of an attached garage without the requested variances to the front setback. The ordinance encourages off-street parking, and having enclosed parking in New Hampshire is a reasonable and common feature. Lastly, owing to the special conditions identified above, please indicate how the proposed use is a reasonable one. The proposed use is reasonable. The owner wishes to improve the lot by removing the existing hazards and constructing a single-family home with an attached garage in a residential zone. However, the irregular shape of the lot limits the buildable area and location where the septic system can be located. In this case, the septic system, the leach field, will be below the driveway. The house has been sited in the location of the existing foundation, and the attached garage will provide additional off-street parking and will provide safe access to and from the house during inclement weather. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Myself, Bobby Joe, Mike, who's not here tonight, went out and visited the site, and it's as manifested in the application. Any other questions of the applicant? If not, I'll ask you to sit down, please.
Thank you very much.
And at this point, I'd ask if there's any approving abutters wish to speak. Disapproving abutters wish to speak.
Can I add something to the approving disabutters?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
May I add something to the disapproving butters? We did bring with us.
Are you an approving butter?
She's the applicant. I'm the applicant.
Who are you?
What I was gonna add to it
Well, what we need you
is-
to do is come forward.
Oh, I'm
That's why
sorry.
I'm having difficulty.
I forgot, sorry.
Are you a butter?
I am not, I'm the property owner, I'm Sandra Martel. We met out on site, but what I wanted to add to
Wait a
it
minute,
was.
you're not on the butter, right?
Correct.
I forgot to introduce some letters we
I'm
got
sorry.
from the abutters.
We have letters from all of
Without
our
any
butters.
Without any issues from the board, I'll allow you to speak.
I'm sorry.
Okay, because you're technically in the approving of butters right now. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
We did speak with all three of our direct abutters on each side of our property, including across the street, and we reviewed our plans with them, and they signed a consent letter indicating that they approve of our plans.
Do you have a
And-
copy of that?
Yes, sir.
Give it to the administrator over here, so that it's included in the application.
Perfect. Just hold on one more. Thank you. There you go. That's all I wanted to add. My
Okay.
apologies for making it confusing.
Thank you. Okay. Any approving of others? Being none, disapproving of others, being none. Public at large, being none. Other boards, being none. Opportunity to rebut anything, being none. I'll go it again, just to be compliant. Approving of others, disapproving of others, public at large, other boards, being none. Okay, at this point, I will close down the public hearing as this part of 0920B, case B, and, okay, I want to ask for a motion on prong 1, please.
I'll make a motion on prong 1 to be
Thank you.
accepted.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? I'd like to put down a condition, and this is a little odd because typically we have 1711s on private and class 6 roads, which require a series of conditions. I think the only one appropriate here is requiring the New Hampshire's disclaimer in the registry. And the reason for that, if somebody should buy this property in the future, they can't say they didn't know the road wasn't, class 5, why isn't it plowed? This is overt, public, not, sort of intent that you can't claim after the fact. So that's required by a town council and by the state of New Hampshire on RSA 674-41. And I don't think the signage, I know there's one there, I actually saw it, so I wouldn't worry about that. And the road itself is moot because we already passed this back in '98, so just that one, okay? Any other further discussion on Article 1? I mean, prong 1? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Motion for 2, please.
I'll make a motion to accept prong 2.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. And 3, please.
I'll make a motion for 3.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. 4,
Motion to accept prong 4.
I'll second it.
thank you. Discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0, and 5 is an entirety.
Move to accept 5 in its entirety.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Happy building.
Good luck.
It pays to ask. Okay, we have Mr. Hayfield here?
Yep.
Very good. Okay, where's his?
It's
Oh, you haven't given it?
Is this from last time, the same one, or is there any changes? I did not get a new change. Oh, right, okay.
Very good.
So this is, did you need this one?
Yeah.
Did you need that
I
one?
have
That was the one that I had.
Oh,
But I don't need
you
it.
can take it back. Thank you. I'm sure it's in this pile somewhere. Might be right there. Okay, the third item I brought up to town council, and Kelly was here for all 3, was grandfathering or pre-existing, non-conforming pre-existing use, which the case would be the house. And there's an article 342, which kind of says, on public hearing, the zoning board of adjustments can grant a prior existing non-conforming use. So, it's a commercial zone. There is a house there. The house was in place prior to zoning. It went out of use some point during the last decade or so, and he's asking to go back again. So I showed this to the attorney, and even though it doesn't say how we do it, it just says public meeting, she recommends there's only 4 things we can do with the zoning board: variance, special exception, equitable waiver, and administrative appeal. Since Kelly didn't turn him down, for it. We can't do a administrative appeal. So what we can do is a special exception. So instead of filing, unfortunately, you filed for the variance. It's a lot easier getting a special exception. You get it by right if you meet the intent of the special exception, as opposed to the 5 points of hardship on a variance. So, to that end, I guess we asked you to fill out a special exception.
Yep.
You don't need to come up right yet, but we'll, in a minute. This is for, this is 10-20, and Alex Hayfield, 197 South Sugar Hill Road, Ware, New Hampshire, 3281, owner the same, property address, same. Yes, tax map and lot 406/4, and it's commercial. And it's basically got the 7 points for a administrative appeal. There is a compliance matrix here. There is a butters. There is, oh, Laura Spector, yeah. This is from the lawyer. And, our lawyer, I should say. This looks like in the butter. Rob Shannon? Shannon? Where is he relative to you?
Diagonal, he should be here shortly.
Okay, well, if he isn't, okay.
But
And, oh, it's a cover page. So, with that said, I motion to accept the application for a special exception, 1020.
move to accept, special exception 1020.
Thank you. Second,
Okay.
all discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Okay. Mr. Hayfield, we ask you to, on the 7 points,
Yep,
read the question and read your response.
okay. Number one, the specific site is an appropriate location for such a use or uses in terms of the overall community development. The site is an appropriate location as there is an existing house already on the property that blends with the overall characteristics of the existing homes in the neighborhood. It is the intent to return the house back to its residential home as it was in the past. The proposed use, number two, the proposed use will not adversely affect the neighborhood and shall produce no significant reduction of real estate values in the neighborhood. The use of the property for residential and commercial will not reduce real estate values in the surrounding neighborhood because the property is already used for commercial purposes and the additional use of residential is consistent with surrounding residential neighborhood. Number three, the proposed use will not be a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicular traffic or pedestrians. The addition of residential use to the property is consistent with the residential use of the surrounding neighborhoods, and the additional residential use will not increase vehicular or pedestrian traffic on South Sugar Hill. Number four, the proposed use will not cause an undue burden on the town through the provisions of basic town services. Residential use will not increase the basic town services the property already requires. Adequate off-street parking, number five, adequate off-street parking will be provided if determined by the Zoning Board of Adjustment. No off-street parking will be required for the proposed use. Number six, a buffer may be required to screen neighbors' uses from the proposed use. Buffers may include fence screens, dense plantings, suitable trees, shrubbery, or naturally occurring shrubs and trees. There already is adequate screening, buffers, fences, trees, shrubbery along all property lines. Number seven, the Zoning Board of Adjustment, in granting any special exception, may include such restrictions or conditions to ensure compliance with this section. The owner wishes to return the property to its original use of a commercial property with a single-family residence occupied by the business/property owner.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none? Please have a seat. Motion to accept the application?
Move to accept 1020.
1020. Yep, second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Good point about whoever your attorney or whoever raised that question. To see if you're going through a variance process. Okay. Other than that, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Keep building.
Okay.
That's actually done. Good luck.
Okay, you weren't needed. Okay, we got minutes?
Big call. Thanks very much. Better.
Did you hand out minutes tonight?
They're right there. Want me to get them?
It's easy for me, maybe. Maybe. For a short meeting, I can't believe we talked that much. We didn't do anything last week. Okay. I think on, I may not notice this before, but for the special exception, where we have A, we should say the case, right in the title, as well as B, 1 and 2, and C. And I believe on each one of these cases, here we go, leave needed 2, that's on B. No, I didn't say it on A. Other than, I just think if we're gonna have the cases, we ought to have the actual case number there. You know, just, it makes it easier, because A, B, and C, 1 and 2 doesn't mean anything relative to the case. Other than that, I think, very good.
Yeah, that's good.
Gary, you still reading?
I
You ready to vote?
I was done.
Make a motion first.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Thank you.
A second.
Thank you. Discussion, being none?
Okay, Pat.
The only thing I will say is accept the motion as modified. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Anything else?
One more item.
What's this? Oh, this, kick the can?
Extend the variance.
Oh, this is Bailey here, yeah. 04. Yep. Bailey property, yep. Do I have a motion to extend the variance? You want to read off the variance? It's 2504.
Case 2504 extension.
Second?
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
This
Adjournment?
is the discussion that we had, that from now on, we can go with a 2-year extension.
Yeah. Need that back? Kelly?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Alrighty, I think we're ready to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.